Today we have some stuff to talk about, and we're going to talk about new fragrance launch, and the one I prefer is going to be a top 5, actually a top 6. This is Clemence, I talk about fragrance, let's go. The first fragrance is a little bit in 6th position, is a little bit not really in the list. Okay, I know, it doesn't really start well, but the new fragrance by Fragrance du Bois, look how beautiful this box is. I mean, big! It's not my favorite release, I have to say on this one. It's just because there's a little bit of something that is not... okay, I'll explain that to you. Sirene is basically a cherry fragrance. Oh! How surprising. The hype of cherry fragrance is really big this year and last year. It's really going on. I think it's just because it's a bit sexy, mysterious, syrupy. Everybody likes that at the moment. For me, I really like cherry fragrance, but I'm a bit bored of it because I actually smelled a lot. It's very strong at the start, actually. I was expecting creamy, syrupy, fruity, sweet, cherry fragrance. It's not really this. It's a huge, powerful cherry fragrance. You really smell the cherry, you know, it has like this density. It's quite thick when you first smell it. You have a bit of pepper note, and that's why it's a bit confusing at the start, because there's really something very vibrant. After, when it dries down, you get something a little bit more milky because there's lactones, again giving more density. It's more creamy, it's more smooth, blah 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 blah. I think it's probably the incense that gives something a little bit cold to the scent, and it's really something that, compared to all the cherry that I have, it smells colder. Wood that they put in the backbone, but this is something Fragrance du Bois do a lot. Like when I've talked about this with them, they were like, yeah, we like to have it as a structure to make the fragrance a bit strong, having some dry down that is interesting, and make it last as well. It's great, you know, it's a great fixative. There's really something that piqued my nose after a few minutes, I would say. It's the cypriol note. Cypriol is a plant, but it does really smell a bit citrusy to me. It has this acidic tone, and cypriol, you can really find that, for example, in fragrances for men, when you have that aftershavey smell, but it's not very harsh, you know. You can really smell something more sweet, but it's just these little bits of notes. For me, it's not really what I prefer. I just realized I'm not a fan of cypriol, you know, like this citrusy aftershave on me, for me, not too much. Surprisingly, with a packaging like this, for me, this smells quite unisex. The kind of fragrance that you're gonna wear like on a date to seduce, to feel a bit attractive. I thought it was gonna be very sweet, very gourmand, and it has some fresh, cold intensity to it. I like it, but it's not really my favorite. Next, my top 5, Affinessence, and it's called Gingembre Latte. I had really crush on this one, especially we're approaching spring. I want something to feel like really invigorating, but you know, like, I don't want to go straight away to the citrus boring. That if you don't really like summer fragrance, usually it's because you don't really like those plenty of citrus that are quite light, and you're still looking for longevity, enveloping fragrance, or something a bit different. This fragrance is a fresh fragrance. It has a lot of sparkling ginger, and ginger really takes over for me citrus note. It feels very energetic, like vibrant, like you smell that, you have a boost of energy, you want to do something from your day, whatever. You have the latte note, and I'm a huge fan of lactonic note. I think it's a really popular note nowadays. People want something creamy, cozy, comforting, because we all have severe depression after COVID. Oh, for me it was before, it's okay. Not joking about this, not joking, not funny. If I have it, I can joke about it, okay? I decide. It smells a bit like a tea fragrance to me, a tea that is super vivid. So it's a great way to wear like a fresh, invigorating fragrance that smells different, because we don't want to smell boring. Like, what's the point to have a collection of fragrance if you smell like everyone else? My top 4 is Memo Cappadocia. So first of all, bottle on point. Look at this bottle. What you have to smell is a saffron bomb. Saffron, very expensive ingredient. It smells luxurious. It's actually the most expensive ingredient, whatever. Luxurious, and if you want to characterize the smell, you would say probably it's like a burnt sugar note. A lot of saffron. But compare, for example, to any saffron bomb that I have, like crystal saffron from Matière Première, for example. More synthetic. I love it, but more synthetic, more eye-catching, full-on fresh projection, blah, blah, blah. This is smooth. This is a creamy saffron bomb. It doesn't feel sexy. It feels the kind of fragrance you're gonna wear when it's a bit chill outside and you want to feel comforting, super cozy, and have something very unique. Because this fragrance, not everyone is gonna like it. It smells really different. I actually never smelled something like that before. It's really rare and I really appreciate it, especially when you try a lot of things. It does have a texture that is very different. It's funny to talk about texture when you talk about fragrance, but it does have a texture. Like, have you seen Turkish Delight? You know this gooey texture, like, voilà, but it's like this, you know? When I smelled that the first time, I was like, oh yeah, rose Turkish Delight. It makes me think of that. And then someone from my community told me it smelled like paella, and then I could never get that out of my mind. It actually does smell a bit like paella. So if you do like this amazing Spanish dish, you're gonna love it. Great selling factor, Clemence. Great. Thank gosh I'm not paid for this. No, I'm joking. Oh la la. I really like it actually. I think it smells really different. It's kind of fragrance that is a bit heady. I wore it quite a few times now. The longevity is amazing. It's not the best projection because it's still around. I would say medium projection, so it's not gonna attack everyone knows. But it's really like a longevity that is amazing. I could really smell it, and it's so different that I think my nose is not used to it. So like I could smell it all day on me every time I wore it, and I really like it. Cedre Figalia. Guys, I love Atelier Materia since a long time. I think in terms of quality of ingredient and how the fragrance is blending, you can really smell a difference compared to other fragrances I have about the work that they do. It's like very detailed, but at the same time very strong. This is the kind of fragrance that I would like to recommend all the time. You have it for your money with Atelier Materia, that's definitely. So the bottle looks like this usually. That's Narcissus Taiji that I have, that I love. I love this fragrance. It's a bit of a poisonous narcissus flower. Anyway, I'm not talking about that today. And actually, you know what? Like I learned actually that the brand is from Brittany. So Brittany is in France, West Coast, where there's the beach and stuff. It's a little bit of a wild place over there. Celtic origins, where some people say it's not Celtic, whatever. I'm from there, and I didn't know they were from there as well, so it's really nice for me to advise a brand from where I'm from. Okay, Cedre Figalia is a fragrance that smells like cedar and fig. Ooh, the review! Why you pick cedar in a fragrance is because you have a citrusy kind of note. It's really uplifting. That's why it's really usually used in men's fragrance, in popular release, whatever. And then you have the fig note. Fig that is very green. It does have a little bit of a rainy aspect. You smell something that is nearly wet in the scent, and I adore when I can smell texture in a fragrance. I adore that. So it's quite green, and usually green fragrances are not very popular because it's difficult to wear. Give me a look of, okay, I'm kind of casual, but I want to play chic, you know, that really spontaneous chic, you know, like this messy bun that the girls have and they look super chic without no effort. This is kind of the vibe with those kind of fragrance, and I really like this. This has really a strong power, like it projects a lot. Yeah, I could definitely like play tennis with that scent. Go to a spring picnic. There's also a spinach note in the fragrance. Yes. Interesting, isn't it? Oh, and very, very unisex. I cannot feel any gender. Spring fragrance, fig is my go-to. I think it's the best to feel really natural but elegant. Vanille des Afriques by Ormonde Jayne. Ormonde Jayne has to be one of the most sophisticated brands out in the UK. If you don't know that brand, you don't know the best of what we do in this country. I say we, but I'm not English, obviously. But I live in the UK since 8 years now, and Ormonde Jayne has been one of the best discovery I've done for people that has a little bit of a classic style. You know, you like classic, you kind of business lady, business guy, or you're very into natural ingredients, sophisticated. You don't care about what everyone is talking about with this project, and this is not your point. You want to smell really sophisticated, very elegant, the fragrance to give you a little bit of confidence, attitude, and you want to smell luxury, but not a quiet luxury. Vanille des Afriques is one of the best vanilla I've tried since a long time. It's a very natural vanilla. So the vanilla that comes from Madagascar, usually that vanilla is very special. It smells, and you can really tell in the fragrance if they use natural vanilla or synthetic vanilla. Synthetic vanilla smells sweet, like vanillin, for example. The natural vanilla, it does have a little bit of an animalic tone. Slightly woody, depends how you treat it, and it's actually really expensive because over there they harvest, in Madagascar for example, they harvest this vanilla by hand, so of course the price go a little bit up. And also, like, to create a specific type of vanilla, they take the two pistils, you know, the two organs of the flowers, they put them together manually, crush the little hearts, and then they started to reproduce and create that specific vanilla. So it's a lot of work like this, but you can really smell the difference. It's really worth it to me. So this fragrance smells exactly like a natural vanilla. So you smell that slightly animalic vanilla. It's opulent, but it's not overpowering. I was walking in the street with that fragrance all around me like a cloud. I could feel it everywhere I was, but I could smell that it was like an elegant, sophisticated, not shouting one. You can smell some powdery note, and that's come from the orris, and it's technically orris butter. It smells a bit buttery. It has that density of butter, you know. It's a vanilla fragrance for people that don't like vanilla scent. That's for an audience that is mature, that like their retro fragrances as well. This lady, she used Jade from Dior, or maybe Number 5 from Chanel. She used those kind of scents, you know, and she wants to stay in that line. She would never like kind of pick a vanilla herself, but this, she's gonna love it. Or he gonna love it. This is my top one new things to talk about, and it's the Infiniment Coty Paris collection. I am so happy to talk to you about this collection. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you probably haven't seen that I've been to Marrakesh to try this whole fragrance collection. There's 14 fragrances. Coty is iconic in France. If you don't know Coty, for example, you probably, if you're getting interested, for example, in fragrance culture and history, the one thing that you're gonna learn about fragrances is that Coty invented the first Chypre fragrance, and it was called Chypre, 1914, I think it's 1917. So it was a whole new olfactive family. Head note, bergamot, citrus note. You add cistus labdanum, a bit of leather and moss, for example, so green earthy tone. And it's really like the essence of something really sophisticated. It's the new era of perfumery, because before perfumery was a little bit more simple. Coty, I trust them with my heart. And we didn't really see like a release from Coty that was interesting since the past 10 years or 20 years. I was really excited to see this revival. And of course, because it's Coty, they like to come back with a little bit of a revolution. So there's a technological revolution, and they call it the molecular aura. So this molecule is basically boosting the projection of a fragrance for 30 hours and plus. So I don't really care about that because I take a shower before, but yes, longevity, power, blah 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 blah, blah, usual thing. Okay, but what is interesting is that molecule is boosting the projection of natural ingredients, so it makes it super natural. And usually when you use a molecule to boost projection, like for example on Broxon, it smells really synthetic. This one, it really boosts the natural aspect of the fragrance. And when you're gonna smell those fragrances, you're really gonna smell that. It's nearly after hours, just like you pick the flowers. I tested the molecule alone and without, so I could really tell the difference. Those fragrances, they have a DNA in common. For me, you can associate it, for example, of an exclusive collection, for example, Les Exclusifs from Chanel, the Dior collection. Like it has really that natural sophistication. So many crush. When I was discovering the fragrances, I was like, oh wow, like I don't even know what to talk about because they're really good. Like there's no fragrance that I really dislike. Hors de moi, that's literally what was my favorite. I'm gonna wear that today. I'm excited. So it's a tuberose fragrance, and usually I am bored of tuberose fragrance because they always smell the same. It smells bubblegummy. I don't know why. I smell bubblegum, synthetic tuberose all the time, but yeah, I was bored of it, and I smelled that and I'm like, is that tuberose? It smelled like a chypre actually. It's quite complicated. There's some citrus vibrant note at the beginning, and then it's full on tuberose. It's really heavy. It feels really feminine, but it does have a projection that is super fresh. I tell you, in Marrakesh, I wore that fragrance every night for the dinner, for any party that we had. I was wearing this religiously. You can ask anyone. I was overspraying it like a demon. I was like it was crazy. I love that smell. Do you know what? It made me think a bit of a Dior J'adore, for example, but more complex, a glamour, red carpet, chic, bold, elegant, lots of attitude, a bit more shouting, and I love that fragrance. There's a little bit of green note as well, just because it's really sophisticated and it's a chypre kind of fragrance, so you can smell a bit that mossy aspect at the dry down. It's amazing. I feel extremely feminine when I wear that. I feel I've got some attitude, I feel confident. And there's a fragrance that right at the beginning that I was really pleased to smell. It's actually not too far from Gingembre Latte from Affinessence. A little bit more cocooning. It's funny because this is something that I said to the lady when I tried it the first time. I saw it was matcha tea, but a light matcha fragrance. It is not. It's ginger, but the ginger is quite soft. It's the lightest of the collection actually. Invigorating, delicate, morning, you know, like you wake up, like you feel in a cloud. It doesn't happen a lot to me because I'm always in a mood in the morning. But it really calms me down. There was also, encore une fois, that was my top 3 for sure. I love this fragrance because it's a vanilla scent as well, but a vanilla that feels natural. It's a little bit more mysterious than, for example, Vanille des Afriques. It has this mysterious, addictive notes that I really like, encore une fois. Soleil d'Icosime, oh my god, this is so beautiful. Especially we were in Marrakesh and there was so many orange tree, and this smells really like orange blossom. It makes me think of the tea that you have in Marrakesh, you know. Love this. Highly recommend you. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, and tell me if you tried some of the fragrances that I tried in the description. Also tell me what is the best fragrance you smelled recently. I'm always interested to see your suggestion. For those who stay at the end of the video, that's our new ritual. You can tap let's do a French word, matin. You can type as a comment matin, as it's a French word that means morning. At least you learn a bit of French. Matin, morning. Do you know what? I actually really like to do that because I've seen so many of you like commenting last time I asked you to do that, and I was like, oh well, that felt good for me after especially like working on a video. Also, it makes me remember your name. It's funny because I met some of you, for example, in Milan, and I always ask the handle of the person I'm talking to, because usually I remember, even if it's a person that just commented, I remember the handle. So voila, hey, it helps me also to know a bit more my community, so for me that's great. Voila guys, I wish you a lovely day and I will see you soon. Bye now.
Je t'emmène dans mon paradis bleu.